Hey guys, this is TJ Pittenger back with you guys again for a quick video. This will be a fun one. This will be a quick one. I think there's one thing that nobody's talking about right now when it comes to the FSU LSU game, and it's something that I'm very excited to chat with you guys about. I haven't seen it anywhere on record, so I reached out and I spoke with Gene Deckerhoff about the game. Everybody loves Gene. Everybody appreciates all that he's done. Before we even kind of go into it, Gene Deckerhoff is an absolute legend. My favorite play-by-play guy of all time. I grew up in Tampa, and I was born in 1990, so all through the 90s when the Bucs were close, and then in the early 2000s when they won a Super Bowl with some former Florida State stars, Spires, Brooks, Dexter Jackson, the MVP, and of course the quarterback Brad Johnson. I love Gene Deckerhoff, and I'm so sad that he's gone. But I want to tell you guys something. Michael Alford hit an absolute grand slam when he hired Jeff Culhane away from North Dakota State. Jeff Culhane is phenomenal. If you've been at games and you haven't gotten a chance to listen to him, go back, go find the Varsity app. I'm going to play a clip here in just a minute, and then I want to talk about what Gene did. But Jeff Culhane is absolutely phenomenal. I think he does such a terrific job, and I'm really excited for you guys to hear this. Florida State football, their Twitter account put this out. So I want to give them a quick shout out. FSU Football on Twitter, also Seminole Productions, Learfield. Really, really good stuff here. But I want to play a clip of Jeff Culhane calling the block at the BAYOU block against LSU to give the Noles the 24-23 win.
The war chant and plant the spear. Noles win. Noles win. Mike Norvell, you have your signature win.
Moments after that, he said they're not going to keep Noles fans off of Bourbon Street tonight. I just, those calls are iconic. You think about Gene in the national championship, and with the punt Ruski, and with the long pass to P-Dub in the Sugar Bowl against Virginia Tech, and just absolutely iconic calls. And I told Gene this before his final game in the spring game. And I told him, Gene, people remember the calls as much as they remember the plays. And those two things are synonymous. And so Florida State fans, will always remember that call by Culhane this weekend against LSU. I think that's the one thing that people aren't talking about with this game is how good Jeff Culhane has been. The team is better. The voice has not taken a step down as much as I love Gene. And I spoke with Gene about that. If you're watching this, hit the subscribe button that's right under me right here. I certainly would appreciate that. I spoke with Deckerhoff, and I asked him what his thoughts were. Gene said he listened on 3 different radios inside of his house. He had it on in every room. He had it on a couple of TVs, but had the TVs turned all the way down. And he listened to not only the 3-hour broadcast, but he listened to the 2.5-hour pregame. And he listened to the hour post game, and he said that Jeff and Tom Block and bar none, William Foote, are a fantastic team, and he really, really enjoyed the call. It was encouraging to me because we all were upset when we got the news that Gene was not going to be there anymore and that we were going to be moving on to a new voice. Gene has been the voice of the Seminoles for my entire life, and most of you guys watching, most of the life that you remember as well. So I was excited for Gene. He called it an excellent broadcast. It was happy to see the Noles win. He called it a signature win for the Noles. And so it was just, when you grow up and your heroes are Bobby Bowden and Gene Deckerhoff and a lot of the players that have played at FSU, and then you hear their excitement, even though they've moved on or they're no longer with it, it's so encouraging to see. So shout out to Gene. He also mentioned, he is working the Bucs Cowboys game. It's an 8:20 kick on Sunday night. I know he's excited for that. So if you're watching, if you have access to a radio, you're in the Tampa area, the Dallas area, or you can get tuned in to the Tampa or Dallas area, tune in and listen to Deckerhoff call the game. It's definitely how I'm going to watch the game on Sunday night because I miss hearing him for Florida State, but I'm excited to hear him for the Bucs on Sunday night. Again, I want to reiterate, I really do think Michael Alford knocked the ball out of the park here. He's made some great hires in his time, hiring the SEC Coach of the Year when it comes to soccer and Brian Pinsky. I think Link Jarrett was just an absolute massive hire for Florida State. Best coach available. Couldn't have done better there. I love Coach Wyckoff. I got a picture with my daughter and her before the Duquesne game. I love Coach Wyckoff and what she's going to bring to FSU women's basketball and continuing the legacy that Coach Sue built. But I'll tell you, man, I'm as much as I'm excited for those stars, I'm just as excited for Culhane. And I think that Jeff does a fantastic job. Shout out the guys over at Seminole Productions, Caleb and all those guys. Hung out with them on Bourbon Street a little bit in New Orleans, and they do such a great job. But man, the team is so cohesive. I love Jeff's podcast, the Behind the Mic, and it was encouraging again to me to hear Deckerhoff kind of rant and rave about how good he thought the broadcast was. So again, something I don't think people are talking about enough. Wanted to share a quick thought. I know people love Gene. I know people love Jeff. I know that they're going to grow to love Jeff. And it's good to see those two interact and have positive things to say about each other. So again, if you watch this, if you enjoyed this, if you enjoyed the little tidbit, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button here below. We'll see you guys next time. Go Noles.